The story begins with our main character, Jinfrey, who is walking into a building. It is his first time entering the building, and he takes in all the sights. However, he feels like he is going back in time. And this is not the first time he has felt this sensation. He feels familiar with the life he is living right now. It's as if he has known this world from the beginning. And that's what he is experiencing at the moment. Suddenly, he hears someone calling his name. The voice turns out to be from a woman who is smiling at him. The woman then asks if Jinfrey's arrival there is to register as an adventurer. Jinfrey confirms. He wants to register as an adventurer. Then the woman looks busy with her computer. Jinfrey gazes at the woman in front of him. He feels like he knows her. A moment later, the woman says with a smile that she has finished entering the data. She then displays the status window. And instantly, the status window appears in front of Jinfrey. The window shows a notification that authentication will soon be carried out. Jinfrey looks at the status window in front of him. He feels déjà vu with what he is experiencing right now. Jinfrey says quietly, "I remember this." The woman, who has been observing Jinfrey's behavior, feels puzzled. She then tries to ask Jinfrey if something is wrong. Jinfrey seems to ignore the woman's question. Instead, he recalls his previous life. He feels like he has memories of playing in a world like this. Yes, that's right. He tries to convince himself that the life he is living now was once part of a game he played. In fact, he had mastered the game so well that he could be considered a pro player. The world was called Grand 7. A world where you travel across 7 continents to achieve peace. It was a classic virtual game. Jinfrey feels as if the memories from that world are flowing into his brain. He was just an ordinary person dreaming of becoming an adventurer to become rich and provide a better life for his family. Suddenly, he feels a shiver realizing that the world he has been living in is just a game from his previous life. This is crazy. He thinks if that's the case, then he is pretty much unstoppable. The woman sees Jinfrey's body trembling. She tries to ask what is happening to Jinfrey. Jinfrey only responds briefly, saying there's no need to worry about him. For him, this is the excitement of a warrior. He thinks everything will become more interesting. However, Jinfrey does not understand why his memories from his previous life are returning now. The system then notifies that authentication will begin after the user waves his right hand. Jinfrey then waves his right hand. He thinks he will use his memories to his advantage in the future. Not long after, a window of information about Jinfrey's personal data appears. However, the only data displayed is Jinfrey's age. The rest of the data is still unknown. The woman, feeling ignored by Jinfrey, smiles. She then tells Jinfrey to be careful. As the portal opens, Jinfrey starts to step into it. He is surprised. After entering the portal, he sees a floating world in front of his eyes. The system informs that he has entered the baptismal altar. Jinfrey is slightly amazed. He feels that even the baptismal altar looks exactly like in the game. He turns to the right and sees several adventurers already near the altar. In the tutorial stage of the game, 5 new adventurers arrive simultaneously. Jinfrey feels the sequence is exactly the same as in the game so far. But now, this is his real show. So there will be no continue feature here. If he dies, it's all over. However, he thinks if he uses the knowledge from his previous life, becoming a successful adventurer is not just a dream. Suddenly, a system notification announces that the baptism ritual will begin in 30 seconds. Adventurers are required to choose their equipment immediately. Jinfrey smiles. He feels that even the notification is exactly the same as in the game. A bald man suddenly runs hurriedly. He seems to be heading for the floating weapons. Several other weapons that adventurers can use are also floating. The bald man appears to be fighting over a spear with a long-haired woman. It is a guardian spear, rank E+, with ATK 21 and durability 50. Meanwhile, on the other side, a bespectacled nerdy man smiles as he finds the sword he wants. It is a red sword, rank E. But suddenly, a man comes and hits the bespectacled man. Apparently, he also wants the sword. Jinfrey still looks relaxed. He seems to have seen the events in front of him before. In the forced job system, job choices are limited, depending on how players perform the baptism ritual. Jinfrey feels this system is unfair to beginners. He remembers that in his previous life, he had to repeat it over and over until a very good job appeared. After getting the desired spear, the bald man smiles happily. Unlike the woman who looks upset with the bald man. The bald man looks at Jinfrey. He then mocks Jinfrey as lazy and slow. Jinfrey just gives a small smile. He does not want to respond to the bald man's provocation. The bald man is a bit annoyed because he feels ignored by Jinfrey. Jinfrey then steps forward intending to take one of the weapons in front of him. His steps stop in front of a short sword. It is an ordinary short sword with an F- rank. Knowing Jinfrey is going to take that weapon, the bald man says to Jinfrey mockingly that it is just an ordinary low-level weapon. So don't cry if you get a bad job. Jinfrey just smiles at the bald man's taunt. To him, of course, the mindset of this world assumes that an adventurer's strength is determined by their job. But what if that mindset is wrong from the start? To him, the knowledge of an ordinary player cannot be compared to that of a pro player. The right initial step for him now is to take the sword. The system then announced that the baptismal ritual would begin and the time limit was 15 minutes. Shortly after, dozens of insect monsters appeared around the adventurers. The system commanded the adventurers to eliminate as many of the creatures as possible. The players observed a group of insect monsters flying above their heads. Jinfrey watched one of the monsters. He already knew that the monster had a toxin that could paralyze everyone. The bald man said to Jinfrey in a mocking tone to try not to get killed by those monsters. Jinfrey turned to the bald man with an annoyed look. He wondered what was up with that bald man. Although irritated, Jinfrey chose to ignore him. The system then announced that the baptism had begun. The monsters, which looked like bees, started moving to attack the adventurers. The monsters aimed their stingers to injure the adventurers. Jinfrey still stood silently observing the movements of the monsters. He felt that even the monsters' movements were exactly like those in the game. He thought, that must mean the monsters' weak points are the same too. One of the monsters quickly moved towards Jinfrey to attack. Jinfrey prepared to draw his sword to slay the monster. With a single slash, he defeated the monster that attacked him. The system then notified that one of the monsters had been defeated. The other adventurers were surprised to see that Jinfrey had already managed to defeat a monster. Jinfrey smiled after defeating the monster. He then prepared to face the next monster. The bald man was puzzled as to why Jinfrey could defeat the monster with just one strike. Maybe it was just luck. Jinfrey remembered that every game usually had bugs, and that was normal. This game also had a bug. The monsters could only be defeated by hitting their weak points with a short sword. And Jinfrey managed to defeat another winged centipede monster. It would be a one-hit kill for him. Jinfrey looked at the group of winged centipede monsters. He was certain this was exactly like in the game. And only he knew how to defeat those monsters. Meanwhile, the other adventurers were trying to defeat the monsters. The bald man was seen successfully defeating one of the winged centipede monsters. He laughed joyfully for his success. He was confident that he would get the strongest job, swordsman. Jinfrey was annoyed by the talkative bald man. Suddenly, one of the monsters moved to attack him. But Jinfrey managed to dodge the attack. He felt this was more fun than in the game. Unnoticed above Jinfrey's head, a winged centipede was stalking and ready to attack him from above. The monster quickly swooped down to attack Jinfrey. However, Jinfrey seemed to anticipate the monster's attack. He ducked and prepared to strike the monster with his sword. With a single slash, the monster that was about to attack him was defeated. Jinfrey smiled with satisfaction after defeating another monster. Suddenly, the system announced that the baptismal time was over. Next, the system would process to assign jobs based on the adventurer's performance during the baptismal ritual. The system displayed the results to each adventurer through a system window. Some of them were dissatisfied with the job choices they received. Meanwhile, the bespectacled nerdy man didn't manage to defeat any monsters, so he didn't get any job. On the other hand, the bald man laughed happily because he had managed to defeat 15 monsters. He also got the swordsman job he wanted. The bald man turned to Jinfrey, whom he had belittled from the start. Jinfrey looked serious as he observed his system window. He seemed unconcerned with the people around him. The bald man walked over to Jinfrey, laughing, intending to mock him. Jinfrey turned to the bald man with an annoyed look. The bald man was shocked after seeing the statistics on Jinfrey's system window. The window showed that Jinfrey had defeated 33 monsters and had many job options. The bald man was frustrated by Jinfrey's success. It was hard for him to believe. However, he was puzzled as to why he got the swordsman job option even though his kill score was low. But the bald man tried to ignore his puzzlement. He thought it was just luck for him. Jinfrey was still looking at the system window in front of him. He had not yet chosen a job. People thought summoner and swordsman were the strongest jobs in this game. But this time, he had to choose a different job. and the system announced that Jinfrey had selected his job. Additionally, he received a first-time job bonus and was entitled to receive initial equipment. The system congratulated Jinfrey for choosing the compounder job. Other adventurers approached Jinfrey. They were surprised by Jinfrey's job choice. The bald man shouted loudly, calling Jinfrey foolish for choosing the weakest job. Meanwhile, Jinfrey remained silent, listening to the bald man's words. Jinfrey then opened his inventory. To him, whether the compounder job was weak or not depended on the player. In the system window, several items were available for him to choose from. Jinfrey was a bit confused about which item to choose after defeating 33 monsters. The bald man watched and waited to see what item Jinfrey would choose. Jinfrey examined the item options displayed in the window. Suddenly, the system notified that he could combine certain items. Jinfrey then combined certain items to create a new piece of equipment. The other adventurers were astonished to learn why Jinfrey chose the compounder job. They didn't expect the job to have special advantages. They didn't know that a piece of powerful equipment could disrupt the game. Finally, Jinfrey succeeded in combining the items. He smiled as he obtained the centipede weapon. Although the weapon's level was still unknown, it had several advantages. And it was Jinfrey's first hidden equipment. The strength of an adventurer is determined by their level and job skills, while equipment is usually considered a supporting item. However, this world has intelligent equipment that defies that rule. It can significantly change the user's strength or defense. For pro players, such items are known as hidden equipment. The scene shifted to an adventurer town, Rogue Begin. It was a stopping point for new adventurers. There, the market was bustling with people making transactions. Among the crowd in the city center, Jinfrey was seen walking around, observing his surroundings. He felt this place was very similar to the game world he used to play. Suddenly, an old woman offered him an apple. Jinfrey gladly accepted the offer. He stood in one corner of the market, eating the apple he had just received from the woman. He thought, after getting the hidden equipment, he should start his plan from here. The objective of this game was quite simple. Across the 7 continents, there is one S-rank dungeon. Adventurers must defeat all 7 boss monsters in each dungeon. Jinfrey thought he had to become stronger from now on. He was eager to explore the dungeon. The standard rule of this game was to complete the dungeon sequentially, starting from the F-rank dungeon. However, it was not easy to accomplish. Jinfrey walked down a staircase towards a portal at the bottom. It was the teleportation portal to the C-rank dungeon. The C-rank dungeon was a forest inhabited by a guardian. The condition to complete it was to defeat the boss monster. Jinfrey entered the C-rank dungeon through the portal at the bottom of the stairs. Before long, he arrived in a forest area with large trees. The recommended level for this dungeon was actually between 17 and 30. With his current low level, this dungeon was quite dangerous for Jinfrey. Suddenly, he felt something big approaching from his left side. He turned around and saw a giant devil plant monster with sharp teeth ready to attack him. Jinfrey immediately drew his centipede sword and prepared to fight the monster. Although the level difference between him and the monster was significant, he was confident he could defeat it with one strike. Then, the devil plant monster started attacking Jinfrey, extending its long and sharp tentacles. However, Jinfrey dodged the attack, which only hit the ground. Jinfrey saw an opportunity to attack the monster from above. He jumped while readying his sword to strike the monster. With a single slash, Jinfrey split the monster into 2 parts. He had defeated the devil plant monster. His success in defeating the monster triggered the activation of the Minos Eye skill. Jinfrey smiled happily because he had easily defeated his opponent. This increased his experience points. He quickly leveled up to 10. The devil plant monster gave him 9 experience points. Meanwhile, his HP and MP automatically increased with the level up. Additionally, for each level gained, Jinfrey received 5 SP, which could be used to improve other stats. Currently, Jinfrey had 45 remaining SP. He planned to use the remaining SP to increase his DEF, which would allow him to withstand severe damage. Jinfrey was very pleased. By defeating the monster, his level and stats quickly increased. The first thing he could do with 66 ATK was to grind B-rank dungeons on the first continent. However, Jinfrey thought the true value of the item had not been proven yet. He smiled slightly and muttered that this adventure was getting more interesting. Jinfrey then proceeded deeper into the forest to find the boss monster in the dungeon while trying to level up. After some time walking, Jinfrey felt something was stalking him. And sure enough, surrounding him now were 3 noir snake monsters, each at level 23, ready to attack. Jinfrey recognized the monsters as noir snakes, the mid-bosses of this dungeon. However, facing 3 of them at once, his chances were less than 1%. One of the monsters opened its mouth and began attacking Jinfrey. Meanwhile, Jinfrey remained calm facing the 3 monsters. He jumped to avoid the monster's lunge. He didn't expect the snake monsters to be as fierce as they were in the game. Repeatedly, Jinfrey tried to avoid the monster's attacks by jumping and keeping a slight distance, but the monsters continued to encircle him. For a moment, he dodged away while continuously observing the attack patterns of the noir snake monsters. Jinfrey began to understand their attack patterns and their weak points. Then, with a swift movement, he propelled himself to jump as high as possible. He intended to strike the monster's neck, which he believed was its weakest point. Holding his sword tightly, he approached and aimed at the neck of one of the noir snakes. However, as he was about to slash the monster's neck, another snake monster blocked him, causing his sword strike to miss the target. Jinfrey paused for a moment, realizing his attack had failed. Apparently, the 3 monsters were trying to protect each other. Jinfrey then tried to find an opening to attack again. Suddenly, one of the snake monsters attacked him first. The monster managed to bite Jinfrey's left shoulder. Jinfrey screamed in pain from the monster's bite. However, he saw a good opportunity to slash the neck of the snake monster biting him. He then turned and swung his sword to slash the monster's neck. This time, his slash succeeded, cutting the snake monster's body in 2. Jinfrey clutched his shoulder where the snake monster had bitten. He had defeated the monster and gained bonus experience. However, the bite wound from the monster left him in critical condition. The system suggested that Jinfrey should escape immediately to heal his wound first. At that moment, he still had 8 HP left. It was still within the expected range. By increasing his defense stat to 72 upon reaching level 10 earlier, he managed to give himself a second chance. If he had full HP, he wouldn't take a single hit in this dungeon. With that, the condition to unlock the level 2 centipede skill was met. He then immediately unleashed the new hidden equipment skill. 2 snake monsters were seen about to attack Jinfrey from behind. With quick movements, Jinfrey slashed the necks of both monsters, causing them to fall. The system then notified him that he had successfully defeated the noir snake monsters. With his body starting to weaken, he looked at the pile of monster carcasses he had just defeated. His success in defeating the monsters increased his level and granted him additional experience points. He leaned against a large tree. Although in critical condition, he felt fortunate to have leveled up. In such a condition, he should focus on treating his wounds first. However, if he restored his HP now, the buff would disappear. He thought about not losing the SPD X10 he had already gained. Jinfrey tried to stand up. He believed he could handle it all. Suddenly, Jinfrey was startled by the appearance of another monster that immediately attacked him. However, Jinfrey, still alert, quickly slashed the monster with his sword. The monster was thrown back and defeated by Jinfrey. Jinfrey smiled happily. He thought the monsters in this dungeon were weak enough to be easily defeated. He considered converting SPD X10 to XP X10. However, he thought again that it wouldn't be as easy as he imagined, even though it could increase efficiency. He then walked through the forest, delving deeper to find the boss monster in the dungeon. Before facing the boss monster, Jinfrey thought about combining items. He needed several materials to combine and create a new item. While Jinfrey was thinking, a large monster appeared behind him, ready to pounce. However, Jinfrey easily defeated the monster. Sitting atop the monster he had just defeated, Jinfrey thought that everything felt too realistic. He remembered that this game used to be hated for this reason. He thought it best not to complain too much for now. Jinfrey then set off to gather the materials needed to combine and create equipment. One by one, the required materials began to accumulate. Jinfrey searched for these materials within the forest. He also managed to find very sour berries, which were one of the needed ingredients. While he was examining the berries he had just found, he suddenly heard someone calling his name. Jinfrey turned to find out who was calling him. Jinfrey saw 2 men dressed in red and green approaching him. He suspected that the 2 men were from the same village as him. As they got closer, the man in red asked Jinfrey what he was doing, calling him a loser. Jinfrey recognized the man as Julius. He had become an adventurer about 2 to 3 years ago. But why was he still lingering in this dungeon? Still in a mocking tone, Julius said that Jinfrey, being a compounder, couldn't even afford new equipment. Julius's friend, the man in green, asked if Jinfrey was Julius's friend. Arrogantly, Julius said that Jinfrey was only from the same village as him, but Jinfrey was the poorest in the village. So he told his friend not to consider Jinfrey as his friend. Julius continued, explaining that Jinfrey's father had died, and his mother lay bedridden all day. Julius's friend was shocked, seemingly unable to believe Jinfrey's family condition. Arrogantly, Julius said it was unfortunate to meet someone like Jinfrey in such a place. Jinfrey remained silent as he heard Julius's words to his friend. He confirmed Julius's story that his father had died when he was young, and his mother was currently bedridden. Meanwhile, his sister was taking care of their mother. That's why he became an adventurer, to earn money. Jinfrey looked at Julius's arrogant face in front of him. Julius got angry when Jinfrey looked at him. He then threatened Jinfrey, saying he would beat him up like before. Jinfrey still did nothing as Julius grabbed his shirt. Suddenly, they were startled by a loud noise that seemed to echo throughout the forest. They wondered what that sound was. Julius and Jinfrey turned in the same direction to find out where the sound was coming from. Julius's friend in green also turned and was shocked after seeing the source of the loud noise. It was a level 31 Cyclops boss monster. The large, one-eyed monster walked toward them. Julius shouted loudly for them to run away quickly to avoid being slaughtered by the boss monster. Jinfrey watched the monster, which seemed to be targeting Julius as its prey. Sure enough, the boss monster lifted a log and prepared to smash it at Julius. Jinfrey was shocked and a bit scared by the form of the large and fierce monster. Julius managed to dodge the boss monster's blow. His face clearly showed his fear of the monster. The boss monster growled, seeing the adventurers in front of him. He looked at Jinfrey and intended to attack him. Realizing he was now the target of the boss monster, Jinfrey tried to prepare to dodge. He thought that the monster's level was far above his own, making it dangerous for him. His attacks wouldn't be able to penetrate the monster. The boss monster raised the log again and struck at Jinfrey. However, Jinfrey dodged the monster's attack, causing the log to only hit the ground. Jinfrey ran to get behind the monster to save himself. He realized he had become the Cyclops monster's target. The boss monster turned so they faced each other. Jinfrey held his shoulder, still wounded from the snake monster fight earlier. The boss monster's one-eyed skill effect made it difficult for Jinfrey to escape the battle. He then drew his centipede sword to face the monster. The boss monster raised the log again to hit Jinfrey while letting out a loud roar. Jinfrey jumped to avoid the monster's log blow. He then tried to step back a few steps from the boss monster. He began to understand the monster's movement pattern. He thought that with the divine excel he had, he could move quickly enough. Julius watched the boss monster repeatedly strike Jinfrey with the log, but each of the monster's attacks was deftly dodged by Jinfrey. This surprised Julius. He couldn't believe that Jinfrey could do that. Meanwhile, Jinfrey continued to jump and run to avoid the boss monster's attacks. He began to think that just dodging would never end the battle. Then he jumped up, intending to start a counterattack. Jinfrey hovered and approached the giant boss monster. The boss monster looked angry and attacked Jinfrey with its hand. However, Jinfrey dodged and used the monster's hand as a stepping stone to jump up and attack the monster. While above the monster, Jinfrey began preparing his sword to slash the back of the boss monster. He saw the monster's neck wide open. He thought that might be the monster's weak spot. Then, with all his strength, Jinfrey swung his sword to slash the back of the monster's exposed neck. However, as he was about to slash the monster's body, he realized that he couldn't possibly hurt it. The power of his sword wasn't able to penetrate the monster's body due to the significant level difference. His sword could only inflict a small scratch on the monster's body. Feeling its body being attacked, the boss monster grew angrier. The monster roared loudly while aiming its wooden club at its back. Jinfrey saw the boss monster trying to attack him with the log. Quickly, he jumped down from the monster's body to avoid its strike. For a moment, he thought it was difficult to attack the monster on flat ground, especially with such a significant level gap. On the other hand, Julius was seen trying to hide from the monster's sight to avoid being attacked. From his hiding spot, he could see Jinfrey making very quick movements to avoid the monster's attacks. He wondered what kind of buff Jinfrey was using that made him invisible. Jinfrey continued to jump and run to avoid the monster's attacks. At this moment, that was all he could do since his attacks couldn't penetrate the monster's body yet. He then thought of quickly making a new item to use against the monster. He had already gathered the necessary materials. He needed to find the remaining materials quickly. Jinfrey was confident he could find the remaining materials around this forest. He then tried to look around to find the materials he needed. He saw the materials near Julius, who was hiding. Quickly, Jinfrey moved towards Julius to get the materials needed to make new equipment. Julius, seeing Jinfrey approaching, felt scared as the boss monster followed Jinfrey. With quick movements, Jinfrey managed to grab the desired materials. Meanwhile, Julius was knocked over by Jinfrey. Jinfrey kept moving to get the last material needed to create new equipment. He headed towards a small water source nearby to collect its water. He then plunged into the water and started combining the materials to make new equipment. In no time, Jinfrey managed to create a new item in the form of poison. Julius, who had been observing every move and strategy of Jinfrey, was shocked by what Jinfrey had just made. He called Jinfrey stupid because he believed the Cyclops was immune to poison. According to Julius, even the effect of the poison wouldn't last long. Jinfrey knew that, but he had another plan. He would combine the poison he had just made with the noir snake spinal fluid he had previously defeated. After some time combining the two poisonous liquids, Jinfrey finally managed to create a potent poison. The poison could reduce HP every second for anyone who drank it. Julius was shocked to see Jinfrey's ability to combine items twice. And what surprised Julius even more was that Jinfrey managed to combine the poison with his centipede sword. That was the form of the centipede sword. With the poison inside, the sword's power increased significantly. Julius still couldn't believe what he was seeing. Jinfrey, who he considered weak, could combine items up to 3 times. Meanwhile, Julius didn't realize the Cyclops was already behind him. Jinfrey looked at the monster with a slight smile. He had been waiting to fight the monster in a second round. The boss monster swung its log again to hit Jinfrey, who was standing in front of it. However, just as the log was about to hit him, Jinfrey jumped to avoid the strike. Repeatedly, the monster tried to attack Jinfrey with the large log, but each time Jinfrey managed to dodge the attacks. Jinfrey seemed to have learned the monster's attack pattern, making it easy for him to avoid the attacks. This time, after successfully dodging the monster's strike, Jinfrey jumped up to aim at the top of the monster's body. Once above, Jinfrey immediately prepared to swing his sword to slash the monster's body. Jinfrey attacked the boss monster's neck with his sword, now imbued with the potent poison. The monster screamed in pain from the sword strike. As a result of the attack, the Cyclops' HP began to decrease every second. The Cyclops boss monster tried to rid its body of the spreading poison. However, Jinfrey swung his sword again, injuring the monster's body multiple times. The condition caused the monster to be severely poisoned, continuously weakening it. After realizing the monster was gravely injured by the poison, Jinfrey then jumped up. He intended to finish the battle quickly. He then landed on the monster's face and swiftly stabbed his sword into the boss monster's eye. The boss monster fell and was defeated by Jinfrey. He managed to gain experience points. Julius, who had been watching the battle, couldn't believe the monster was defeated by Jinfrey. He began to wonder if this was the same Jinfrey he had known before. And that concludes the first part. The admin will upload the next part soon. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it and subscribe to this channel so you can get notifications for new videos. Thank you for watching.